Is Jordan Peterson doing this on purpose? I mean, who wears a red suit? Let's listen to Jordan Peterson's response to a court decision in Canada.
I'm perplexed, I would say, about the situation in Canada. I've been thinking about it this morning. As you know, the court that we appealed the College of Psychologists' decision to decided that the college it's within the college's purview to stop me from having any political opinions, as far as I can tell. The decision, which I posted on Twitter and will post in the description of this video, starts out by making a case for the fundamental reality of freedom of speech for Canadians in Canada, and then says, but, and that's always a bad start when you're talking about freedom of speech, but apparently the college has the right to decide that I can be re-educated forcibly with the risk of my license, essentially because I made political statements that the members of the college don't agree with. And those opinions involve two criticisms of Justin Trudeau, one criticism of his chief of staff, one criticism of an Ottawa city councillor, and then my objection on Joe Rogan to the climate apocalyptic fear-mongering that idiot tyrants are foisting on the general population. Now,
but is it that you have a different political opinion, or is it just because you're rude? Did you hear what you just said? Idiot tyrants. You use the word idiot tyrants when you speak as a licensed psychologist. Is it appropriate for you to call people you disagree with politically as idiot tyrants? Just raising the question.
Apparently that makes me unprofessional and a disgrace to the profession, such that I am now going to be required, the college can go ahead with this, to put me into a re-education program with their so-called social media experts, and that's also, by the way, a profession that does not exist, until I learn my lesson, whatever that is, regardless of how much time that takes, by their judgment, or they can take my license away. And so the court says, well, of course you have freedom of speech, Dr. Peterson, but because you're a professional, you're bound by your professional organization. And apparently they're not bound, even though they're a government organization, fundamentally. Apparently they're not bound by that fundamental constitutional axiom. And so that shows you, all you Canadians who are listening, and everyone outside of the country who might be the least bit interested in Canada, that...
Well, but is this about the Canadian Constitution, or is it you, Peterson, being an asshole? Which one is it? Is it a breach of the Canadian Constitution we are talking about here? A breach of freedom of speech? Or is it just you, Jordan Peterson, being rude and being an asshole and acting unprofessionally towards transgender communities, to politicians and political people you disagree with, and you feeling that you have some kind of entitlement over other psychologists, that you should have the right, because you have 7 million followers, to be an asshole and still be a licensed psychologist, but other psychologists would not be able to do what you are doing. So what's going on here? Is it constitution, or is it just you being an asshole given your psychological license, or the license to be a psychologist?
It shows you exactly what our bloody constitution is worth. And if Canadians are so daft that they don't think that that's a problem, well, they're going to figure it out over the next 15 years, because there's absolutely no excuse for this. So that's what I'm thinking. Now, there's part of me that's thinking, well, look, Peterson, the College of Psychologists is after you. You've taken it to court. Now the judges have decided that you're wrong. Maybe you're wrong. And I think, well, I expressed political sentiment and I'm actually informed. And so for the life of me, I can't see how I'm wrong. I think I've...
Is that a little bit of hubris? Peterson? I'm just asking, is it a little bit of hubris? I mean, if I say rude things in TikTok, I also get canceled. That applies to all of us. Why do you feel that you should have the right to spit anything out of your mouth and not get any repercussions from that when the rest of us do? Let's hear that again.
And I think, well, I expressed political sentiment and I'm actually informed. And so for the life of me, I can't see how I'm wrong. I think I have a responsibility to say what I think, and I think many people agree with that, and I think the fundamental consequence of that around the world has been massively beneficial to people. So
absolutely agree. I mean, freedom of speech. I support freedom of speech as well. So speak your mind, but you are, Peterson. You are speaking your mind. Nobody's stopping you. You're everywhere. Everyone watches your videos. You are all the time making your political opinion heard. Nobody's canceling you for your political opinions, but you may have said some statements that were rude or disrespectful or unprofessional. And why do you feel that you have the right to do that when nobody else does?
I think, number one, what the hell? And number two, bring it on and see what happens. Because I will make absolutely every bit of this public in a way that the college and the courts can hardly even imagine.
Cruel Canada, I'm gonna bring it on and be better than you, and I'm gonna win you. I am the rightful freedom of speech champion. I don't have the right to be an asshole and say negative, nasty things to transsexuals and the LGBTQ community like nobody else has the right to do so. I should have the right to do whatever I want because I'm Jordan Peterson. Now, Peterson is a man who denies systemic racism and critical race theory. Peterson is a man who denies other people's trauma and negative experience and kind of shoves it back to them, like, do for yourself, work harder, the hardest worker wins, victim mentality is toxic, and all of these kinds of things that Peterson throws out. Now, if Jordan Peterson takes the little injustice he faced with the unfair court of Canada, multiplies it with 100, that would be approximately the injustice that black people has faced for the last, say, 400 years. And if you add the invasion of Egypt for the last 3,000 years with Western invaders and Western imperialists and exploiters of Africa. Mr. Jordan, who is the victim now? Who is the victim now?